What's going on, guys? It's your main man back on the scene with another video. Checking out my man Renegade here. This is a good channel. He's like on the money aspect of Hollywood, breaking down how much money they made on the movie, stock prices and all that good stuff. Interesting stuff. If you like the business aspect. But this episode here, he's talking about the Mandalorian's ratings. And I haven't watched the show because I kind of when Grogu left Luke, that was pretty much it for me. It was all downhill because we already know how things are gonna turn out, and that was like the perfect opportunity to retcon the sequel trilogy, but they're not gonna do that. So it is what it is. They're gonna do what they want. They don't care what we want because they're too busy hating on us. Let's check my man out.
Notification bell. Share this sucker out on the social medias, and of course, please do leave a comment before you head out the door today. I have a feeling we're going to get a ton of comments on this video because it is some dire news for Star Wars and for the Walt Disney Company and for Disney Plus. And I can't say that we're surprised. We basically called this some months ago after what we saw from Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Book of Boba Fett. Could Disney still retain what they had with Mandalorian coming in to season 3? And of course, it all even goes further back than that with the release of Gina Carano from her services at Lucasfilm by one Kathleen Kim.
Which I thought that was dumb because, the guy that plays Mando, he pretty much said the exact same thing that she did. But one was directing their comments towards the left, the other one towards the right. And to me, to be fair about it, if I was running the show, I'd have been like, look, get off the political stuff. You can talk on Twitter all you want, but just fall back with the political stuff. Just fall back with that. I wouldn't have fired her because I'm more about the money, the show. People love the show. They like the character. So I wouldn't mess with it. It is what it is.
Kennedy and the vaunted Lucasfilm Story Group. Lots of mistakes were made following an incredible season 2 finale of The Mandalorian with the return of Luke Skywalker and Grogu leaving with him ostensibly.
That was the bomb. And what I liked about it so much was we never got to see badass Luke Skywalker. Even in The Return of the Jedi, which it wasn't a horrible movie, but it was the weakest of the trio, the weakest movie in the trilogy. And he didn't do anything in the movie. He was a Jedi. He had a black outfit on, but he didn't really do anything badass to show that, yeah, I'm this bad motherfucking Darth Vader better watch out. That didn't happen until this episode. Let's continue.
To become a Jedi, which was then later unwound succinctly in the Book of Boba Fett. Now, some people seem to dislike the fact that we're constantly coming at YouTube with bad news, quote unquote, regarding the Walt Disney Company.
Well, goddamn, they don't make anything good. What the hell you expect? You want to hear good stuff? Make something that's like, wow, that's the shit. Yo, you got to watch this. They're not making anything like that. They're making stuff like, man, goddamn, did you see that bullshit? That's what they do. Then they complain about the fans. And the problem is you, because you hate the fans and you put out stuff that pisses us off, and we close our wallets like we're supposed to. Remember, the fans are paying customers, but they don't seem to realize that.
And their IPs. And I certainly understand that. The problem is that the Walt Disney Company's IPs seem to do nothing but generate bad news for Disney. Nothing seems to stop them from doing this. And they may have finally shanked the one thing that they had going for them on Disney Plus very consistently since the program launched back in late 2019. Since then, Disney Plus has enjoyed tremendous subscriber growth both here in the U.S. domestic market and abroad. But those Disney Plus shows that have come out during that growth have been unable to keep pace with said growth. You see, the shows continue to stay stagnant in terms of viewership, or in many cases, actually decline. And that shouldn't be happening as you're adding subscribers, and it darn sure shouldn't be happening with their headline show. the ultimate show on Disney Plus, the king of the hill, The Mandalorian. But it has, and it has in spectacular fashion. And it just goes to show what happens with brand damage over time. Sure, you can get away with a bad show here and there.
That's the key word. Now, notice all the publications, they talk about fatigue. No, it's brand damage. That's the correct word. So I like how you said that. You get a high five for that, my brother.
But after a while, the fans start to roll their eyes and walk out the door. And that's exactly what's happened at this point with The Mandalorian Season 3. Let's take a look at a reality check here for Disney. From Samba TV via The Wrap, The Mandalorian gives Disney Plus a win and staves off a Netflix sweep. Now, right off the bat, I can't even begin to tell you how misleading that headline actually is when you get down to the meat and potatoes of what we're about to see. The Season 3 premiere of Disney Plus's The Mandalorian, the live-action Star Wars show that played a key role in the service's 2019 launch, jumped through hyperspace to the top of the charts in the latest Wrap report, which highlights viewership trends collected from Samba TV's panel of more than 3 million households, drawn from over 25 million connected TVs. Though it defeated a large streaming empire in the process, the victory was weaker than one might have hoped. And that's being incredibly kind. Again, I find the headline terribly misleading. You buried the lead. And the lead is, it seems that The Mandalorian Season 3 has lost somewhere around half, if not more, of its audience from Season 2. At a casual glance of the simple chart that is typically posted,
That's not good, guys. Half? That's a big drop off. So it's going to tell you what happened. Just check it out.
On Twitter, every once in a while these days from Samba TV, it looks like The Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 1 was a banger, beating out a lot of products from Netflix that were very popular. However, bear in mind that the Murdoch Murders series on Netflix had already been out for over a week, so these are residuals. There really wasn't another major headline show to release on a streaming service except for The Mandalorian during this time frame. So what's the reality of this? Quote, the long-awaited new season's first episode was less of a standout measured against other recent Disney Plus releases. A gap of more than 2 years after the second season finale of The Mandalorian may have allowed some Star Wars fatigue to settle in.
Well, that could happen. Like, if you're watching a show, it take too long for them to come out with the next season, people do tend to drop off because you forget about it. I don't think that's the case with this. It could be with some. I don't think so. Let's continue.
The episode outpaced the premieres of Star Wars spin-off Andor by nearly 50% in viewership, but it still fell short of Loki and Obi-Wan Kenobi's audience by double digits, trailing both of those launches by 35% and 28% respectively. Meanwhile, the interconnected spin-off series, The Book of Boba Fett, barely edged out The Mandalorian by 2%. That is absolutely horrific for Lucasfilm, for Star Wars, the Walt Disney Company, and Disney Plus. The Book of Boba Fett.
Those are all trash shows, so he didn't beat those out. But he's going to get deeper into the numbers. Let's continue.
Had one of the most poorly received, or at least meh, receptions of any Disney Plus Star Wars show. Obi-Wan Kenobi left a lot to be desired, and Loki, quite frankly, wasn't all that good. And if you remember some of the reports that we had referenced in the past year or so, chronicling the issues on Disney Plus with their original content and its related viewership, you'll know that Loki was second only behind Mando Season 2. But Mando Season 2's actual Nielsen measurements in terms of watch time was double that of Loki. So now we have a new season that is 35% behind in viewership that of Loki, 28% behind that of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So what would those actual numbers be, being 35% behind Loki or 28% behind that of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Well, let's use Samba's own numbers to figure it out very quickly. With 2.14 million U.S. households having watched the premiere of Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus in its first 4 days, According to Samba TV back in May of 2022, that would put the Samba measurements for the premiere of Mandalorian Season 3 somewhere around 1.5 million. Yes, 1.5 million. That's less than the 1.6 or so million of the Book of Boba Fett. That's less than what they measured for even Rings of Power at 1.8 million. And Book of Boba Fett somehow managed to beat The Mandalorian's premiere, even by 1%.
That's because people checked out. Nobody's interested in it. And yeah, fatigue could be, again, if it take a long time to come out with new episodes, people tend to fall off. And it could just be some people feel like I do. Once Grogu went back with Mando instead of staying with Luke, I just lost complete interest in that. Because we know how it's going to end up. We know where it's going, and I'm not interested in that. So it could be a combination of both. But let's continue.
2%. It should have beaten it by no percent. Mandalorian Season 3 should have come out of the gate and soundly beaten the Book of Boba Fett. But it goes to prove the amount of damage that the Book of Boba Fett did to the Star Wars franchise that was hanging on by a thread at that point on Disney+. Quite frankly, these are the kind of numbers that will catch Wall Street attention in the coming days and weeks, especially leading up to the annual stockholder meeting of the Walt Disney Company, now just about 2 to 2.5 weeks away at this point. I wonder if we will actually see any kind of questions or the Walt Disney Company addressing this at this point. Because while Wall Street's attention has shifted away from pure subscriber growth goal,
It will be interesting to see what they say on the earnings call. I'm not a Disney shareholder because I don't believe in it. At this moment, I wouldn't mess with Disney stock, man, because I don't know what they're hiding and how bad it really is. It might be all right to day trade it, but like to hold for a long-term strategy. Just my opinion. I'm not your advisor. I don't recommend it.
And back into a more value-oriented proposition, that is to say operating income or profits of these streaming companies, they're going to get a little bit tepid when they start seeing some of these Mandalorian numbers, because this was supposed to be the indestructible force that drove viewership and kept these subscribers stuck to Disney Plus like glue.
Well, it has to be good, but again, what they did in Boba Fett when they had Grogu go back to Mando instead of training with Luke, they blew it. That was it right there. They blew it. But anyways, it's almost done anyway. But if you want to watch the rest of it, or the whole things, I did cut some out from the beginning. I'll link the episode in the description box. But let me know what you guys think. Because me personally, I think the main thing here is brand damage. Because if the show was rocking, people would have came back. But after Mando and Obi-Wan, I'd say brand damage is the greatest factor in this situation. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you fellas in the next video. Peace.